All right. Good morning. Today is Tuesday, October 12th, 2021, I think. And this is a regular meeting of the Kings County Board of Supervisors. Due to issues arising from COVID-19, the board is using a WebEx teleconferencing format for today's meeting and may be participating via the World Wide Web. If you'd like to make a public comment through the teleconferencing format today, please make sure that you are identified by name in the WebEx system. For those interested in commenting during unscheduled appearances at 9 a.m., please use the raise your hand feature and wait to be recognized. You will be allowed up to 2 minutes for public comment. Members in the audience who have filled out a speaker card will be taken in the order that they are received by the clerk, and online speakers will be taken in the order that they appear in the WebEx system, showing that their hand is up. If you wish to speak today and you are having issues with the raise your hand feature in the WebEx system, please physically raise your hand so that we may see you and then wait to be recognized. Each vote, I have a problem with that one. Each vote today will be a verbal or voice vote so that members of the public can hear how each board member has voted. After we have had a motion and a second regarding each item we are taking up today, there will be a roll call vote by district. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Joe Neves.
Here.
Richard Valley.
Here.
Doug Verboon is absent. Craig Peterson.
Here.
Richard Fagundes is absent.
Okay, we have 3 present today. This time we'll now move to the invocation, and we have Pastor Arthur Fox in the house. Good morning, sir. He's from the New Hope Orthodox Presbyterian Church.
Good morning. Let's pray. Almighty God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, you are a good and holy God, and we acknowledge you as our Creator. We thank you, our God, for our nation and our country and for the people who live here in Kings County. And we thank you for those who serve our community on this board. Lord, please help those of us with responsibilities to lead, to do so in a way that is godly and pleasing in your sight. And then, O Lord, cause people to know, serve, and glorify you, and to make you known wherever you put them. We also ask, our God, your blessing upon this council. And we ask that you would use them to restrain evil and promote good, to mitigate natural evils, and to relieve suffering. We ask that you to revive true religion within Kings County, the religion that you teach in the scriptures. And may your grace and love triumph over sin, conflicts, and divisions in the churches and in our community. O Lord our God, we pray that in Washington, D.C., you might revive a love for our country and revive true religion there. And we ask that you would bless our president and guide him. We ask, our God, that you would bless whatever good things of this life we have or need, that we may be able to enjoy the good that you've given us. And we thank you at this time for this board of wise men and women who do the work of governing our county. Please help them to determine how to deal with issues that are important to our citizens, and help them, O God, to be faithful to keep the vows they made when they were sworn into office. Most especially today, we ask that you protect and guide this board of supervisors and give them wisdom and courage and perseverance, and grant them opportunities to do good for our citizens and for our county. These things we ask for the sake of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you. You now please join me in the flag salute. Ready, salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Pastor Fox.
Good job. All right, at this time, we'll move to item 2, which is unscheduled appearances. Any person may directly address the board at this time on any items on the agenda or other items of interest to the public that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board. 2 minutes are allowed for each item.
I have a speaker card for Lori Pasante.
Good morning. My name is Lori Pesante, P-E-S-A-N-T-E, and I've given your clerk my contact information for the record. I am the Director of Civic Engagement and Government Relations for the Dolores Huerta Foundation. It's good to see everybody again today. I'm here because there's a process issue that I would like to bring to the board's attention. It appears that within your redistricting process, that the last time public input was taken was on September 14th at 9 a.m. here in the chambers, and that there have been no public input sessions occurring at 6 p.m. or in the evenings or on the weekends, and that the deadline to submit draft maps is October 20th, next week at 5 p.m. There are no other hearings since September 14th until after this deadline, with, of course, no evening or weekend hearings until November 3rd, which is after the deadline of October 20th. And so it's a little troubling to think that when the Fair Maps Act of 2019 requires that jurisdictions engage public participation in good faith, that there have been no opportunities for the public to provide input or to submit maps with a public presentation until after, that we don't have another one coming up until after your deadline is done. So that plus the fact that about 80% of what's being translated into Spanish is being understood. And this is a common problem. Obviously, translation can be kind of tricky. However, I would like to request that to address this translation issue in the future, that perhaps we can seek out a group or a company or an individual that is certified in translating into Spanish and has a proven track record. For example, there was one that comes to mind who worked in Tulare County, Team Linguistica. They've had extremely positive results there, and redistricting is a tricky topic that they have specially trained to be able to translate appropriately. This is very similar to like other specialized contexts like the medical field, where translators can't, it's not just that they can speak Spanish, they have to know the terminology as well. So it would be my request to this board that perhaps Team Linguistica or another similarly situated specialized translation company be considered for future hearings. And my final ask is that I would like this board to consider having a public input hearing in the evening next week, either on Monday, October 18th or Tuesday, October 19th at 6:30, prior to the 20th deadline, so that the public can have an opportunity to take advantage of those wonderful educational sessions that you've sent out into other cities in the county. That's a great idea. And hopefully the folks participating in that educational opportunity would then have a hearing to actually provide their input. So next week, if that could be approved or can seriously considered, I'd be very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next.
Good morning, Chairman and members of the board. Marie Waite, Child Support Services Director. The Kings County Department of Child Support Services was recognized by Western Intergovernmental Child Support Engagement Council, known as WICSEC. WICSEC was formed in 1983 as an alliance for child support leaders for all Western states. At the annual conference, the week of September 27th, WICSEC presented 7 awards. Kings County Department of Child Support Services was the recipient of the 2021 Program Engagement Award. My team and I received this award for creating a positive public image for child support services program. This was achieved by partnership with Kings County Job Training Office, known as JTO. In our recognition video displayed at the virtual WICSEC conference, we shared how one of our successful referrals to JTO was a child support customer and his adult son, a non-child support customer, and both became gainfully employed. I want to thank the board for your support of my department and the collaboration with JTO. Lastly, thank you, Lance Lippincott and the JTO team for partnering with Child Support Services and fulfilling our mission to serve our joint customers.
Good job.
Thank you. Congratulations on good work.
Since it's on.
Okay,
I believe Bill Lynch wanted to speak this morning.
you mean Fire Marshal Bill?
Used to be. Good morning, Bill Lynch, Kings County Fire Department. I just wanted to get you updated on your fire department. Currently, we have everybody back from out of county assignment. So nobody hurt, everybody's safe. We're back gearing up for the Southern California episode that I'm sure is going to come. It's already started down there, started yesterday with the winds in the Santa Barbara area. So look forward to the late season fire season in Southern California. So we'll keep you apprised as to how many people and units we send out in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then DA Fagundes has his hand raised.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Chairman and attending members of the board. Wanted to update the board. We have, on a 4-day work week, we have more than 1,000 hearings this week in court. And last week, we were able to conclude 2 more homicide cases, both with guilty. It's the only update, and I look forward to presenting our agenda item later on, along with Phil Espenshade, who will be in chambers with you.
All right, thank you.
That's all that I have.
Okay, with that, we will move to item 3, which is approval of the minutes. And first is item 3A, report out closed session from the regular scheduled meeting, October 5th, 2021.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Your board offered the appointment of interim public health director to Darcy Pickens, who accepted that role at the minimum salary band of $11,000 per month. It was a 4-0 vote with Supervisor Fagundes absent. That's the only reportable action that we have.
And thank you. Okay, we'll move to item B, which is approval of the minutes from the October 5th, 2021 regular meeting.
Nevs moves to approve those minutes.
Good,
Second.
very good. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley,
Aye.
Craig Peterson.
Aye. So we have 3 in favor, 2 absent. We'll now move to item, motion carries. We'll move now to item 3C, which is approval of the minutes from the special meeting on October 5th, 2021.
Nevs moves, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley,
Aye.
Craig Peterson.
Aye. Okay, we have 3 in favor, 2 absent on that as well. We will now move to the consent calendar, and there have been a couple of amendments to the consent calendar, specifically items 4E and F due to the requirement for a 4/5 vote, which we don't have today. So with that, we'll bring it back to the board for action.
And Mr. Chairman, can we still take up item 1A, at least for the presentation, for the ability to get some questions asked and answered? And I understand if item 1B, which is the actually the vote to adopt the budget change, I can understand why that would be tabled. But that being said, I'd like for 1A to be brought up. There's some information that I'd like to get clarified in public. Thank you.
Right. Let's see, we would, I don't know how we want to handle that. Do we
Who
keep-
asked for it to be tabled?
It was asked to be removed because we do not have 4/5 to hear the item. Or
There's
act
4
on
of
it.
us. There's 4 of us here though, right? Or is there only
No,
3?
there's 3.
Oh, I understand. Okay, I can't see. Well, could we at least get the presentation part of it out there? With the understanding that there'd be no action.
Which, if I may ask, which item was this again? You said 1A, but is this E1A or
F.
F1A?
F1A as it relates to the $500 lump sum payments.
As a practical matter, it makes sense to hear them together. Nevertheless, I would recommend hearing them together for the sole reason that if it takes a 4/5 vote to pass the budget, then I think all of those 4 members ought to be part of the consideration of the item itself. That would be my recommendation.
Okay, thank you for that, Mr. Chair. The other question though is that item 1A doesn't, to my understanding, doesn't require a 4/5 vote. It's only the action item. And again, I'm asking for it to be brought up with the understanding that we would take no action today. But I put a call in the Human Resource Director yesterday on this, early yesterday. I didn't get a phone call back. So I want the opportunity to get some questions answered in public.
Yeah, well, I don't think we're killing this item for perpetuity. We're just putting it off until we can have it heard by the full board as outlined and be able to take action on it. Whether we hear it today or hear it at a later date, we still can't take action on it. And so I would need consensus from the board to do something other than table it at this time. And I, Supervisor Notes, I see you wish to hear that today, or are you? No. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, one more for procedure. I believe we could start to bring it up and then table it till next week. And to bring it up for the fact, again, to have questions asked and answered on it, and that I feel is timely. I believe a board member has the ability respectfully to make the request to have this heard out, and then we can table it. Meet me halfway on here.
Yeah, well, and I appreciate that. I think it's still a consensus item that, with the lack of 4/5, but county council, you may have some input. So.
Yeah, I would reiterate the same notion as what I already presented, and that is that the item, the final conclusion, the ultimate vote requires 4/5. It seems like the full discussion ought to be participated in by the same 4/5, and that would be my recommendation. I understand that we could perhaps bifurcate this, but it seems like a false bifurcation, and I would recommend considering it as a whole.
Okay. Hey, Mr. Chairman, what I'll do is I'll see if I could work my questions in under the COVID presentation part of the agenda. I know that's very flexible. And since I believe that this funding is COVID related, I'll ask my questions at that point. Thanks for hearing me out here. Thank you.
Yep. So with that, we have a amended consent calendar. So back to the board for action.
Mr. Chair, Neves moves to adopt the consent calendar as amended by the chair, items A through D.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion second. Madam Clerk, please call.
Joe Nevs.
Yes.
Richard Valley.
Aye.
Craig Peterson.
Aye. So we have 3 in favor, 2 absent. We'll now move to item 5, which is regular items. We'll start with item 5A, number 1, which is administration.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, members of the board. Ed Hill, County Administrative Officer. Today, we are seeking your board's adoption of a resolution requesting the Department of Water Resources to provide Kettleman City with an emergency allocation of water in the amount of 310 acre feet in order to meet the needs of its residential and business community. On March 5th, 2021, the United States Department of Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack designated 50 California counties, including Kings County, as a primary natural disaster areas due to recent drought. And on April 21st, 2021, Governor Gavin Newsom also declared that California is in a second consecutive year of dry conditions that has resulted in severe to exceptional drought conditions in many portions of the state. As a result of these conditions, Kettleman City and its commercial area will be out of water by the end of 2021 and may receive no more than 1/3 of their daily needs in 2022. DWR staff have been contacted requesting an emergency allocation for 2022, and we understand the use of emergency health and safety water supply would amount to only 55 gallons per capita per day, which is equal to approximately 8 acre feet per month. This would not be adequate for the Kettleman City Community Service District needs. Due to the continued drought conditions, the Kettleman City residential and commercial business need 310 acre feet water supply from the California Aqueduct to meet the needs of the community going into the 2022 calendar year. The Kettleman City Community Service District has a resolution for water conservation of the residents and commercial area and has recently declared a water supply emergency. Additionally, on October 2nd, 2021, Senator Hurtado and Assemblymember Salas submitted a letter to the Department of Water Resources in support of the need of the additional water allocation for Kettleman City. And finally, the CAO office submitted a petition to the Department of Water Resources also advocating for the additional allocation of water. Therefore, it's recommended your board adopt the resolution requesting the Department of Water Resource to provide Kettleman City with an emergency allocation of 310 acre feet in order to meet the needs of its residential and business community. County Council has reviewed and approved this resolution as to form. This concludes my report. I'm happy to answer any questions. And additionally, it's my understanding staff from the Tulare Lake Basin Water District have been pivotal in this fight, and they are also on the line and can provide further details if needed.
Okay, very good. So with that, let's go to, are there any questions from the board?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I want to thank Mr. Hill for the information, also getting this resolution on very quickly, and County Council's office for expediting the review of it. We got this in probably midweek last week, and so I know everyone, including the clerks, had to put some extra time and energy to get this on today. So I want to say thank you. And thanks again to Mr. Hill for getting the petition out. I understand we've also gotten several responses back coming in from them, and everything that Mr. Hill and Justin Mendez, for that matter, who I met with last week, everything that they just got presented publicly is being balanced out with my contacts, the folks I'm working with in Kettleman City over at the KCSD. This is needed. It's urgent. And we want to make sure we don't have an emergency next year. And so I'm happy to make the motion that we approve this resolution, have you sign it, Mr. Chairman. It gives it extra punching power, as you know, in the form of a resolution, and we'll get that up to Sacramento ASAP.
Okay, very good. Thank you. We do have a motion on the table. Mr. Mendez, would you like to add anything to the discussion? You're still on mute, I think.
How about now?
You're good.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Supervisor Valley, for meeting with us at Tulare Lake. We administer the county's state water project contract, which includes the water for Kettleman City. A lot of the context of this dates back to a letter that Tulare Lake, Empire West Side, and the County of Kings sent in August as it relates to the charges that will be coming. And, you know, the second half of this resolution addresses that. This area is paying an exorbitant amount of water that we're not getting, and it's double impacting the residents of Kettleman City, who some of them may have lost a job because of the fallowing of acres, and now they're physically running out of water in their homes. And so we thank the county very much for how fast they were able to put this together.
Okay, very good. Thank you for those comments. And, you know, just a personal comment, and I guess it's not a very favorable one for this whole process, but, you know, this administration seems hell-bent on breaking the Central Valley. It's been multiple amounts of listings of you know, requests for infrastructure funding and other sources, and it just seems to be turned down every time, or all kinds of amendments added to bills that would help the Central Valley, and we keep having to beg for water, and it's really unfortunate and actually very distasteful. But with that, we do have a second. So, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley,
Aye.
Craig Peterson.
Aye. So we have 3 in favor, 2 absent. Motion carries. We'll now move to item, thank you, Mr. Mendez. We'll move to item 5B from the District Attorney's Office.
Good morning. Phil Espenshade is in board chambers to answer any specific questions you have on this grant. He is one of the project managers. This is nearly a $200,000 grant that changes the focus on how we provide services to child victims and their families. It has been a huge benefit, and need the ability by the granting authority to make ministerial amendments to the grant in order to either receive more money or to purchase certain items that are already built within the grant. This, of course, this authority to make ministerial amendments would not apply to any major budget issue that the board would always have to approve. So Phil, if you want to take it and explain to them any further, if they have questions.
Sure. We had a virtual site visit a few weeks ago from Cal OES. Did very well. And they had just noted that when we had first brought this item to your board, this wasn't on there. So generally, these amendments are additional funds, which is a good thing. So anything that would require county match, we will bring back to your board. So this should be an easy one.
All right. With that, we have item on the table. Is there?
Nev moves.
Second.
Okay, we have motion and second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Joe Nevs.
Yes.
Richard Valley.
Aye.
Craig Peterson.
Aye. Okay, motion carries. And just noted, 3 in favor, 2 absent. And we'll now move to item 5C, which it comes from the election department. Mr. Lupibia.
Hi, good morning, Mr. Chairman. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Lupe Villa, Elections Department. I come before you to present and to ask that your board accept the statement of vote for the September 14, 2021 California gubernatorial recall election. On Tuesday, September 14, 2021, the Elections Department conducted the September 14, 2021 California gubernatorial recall election. Pursuant to Section 15372 of the California Elections Code, the Register of Voters is required to prepare and submit a certified statement of the results of the election to the governing board within 30 days of the election. On October 5th, we submitted the statement of vote to the California Secretary of State via mail, FedEx, and electronically. On October 6th, we delivered the statement of vote to the governing board as required by law. Additionally, the Register of Voters, the Elections Department, is required to post the certified statement of the results on our website, which is posted, and it is to be maintained for the following 10 years, which will follow. I would also like to add that we had a very successful recall election in Kings County. We had a total of 61,879 ballots mailed out, of which 31,064 were returned, processed, and counted for a turnout of 50.20, which is really good turnout for a recall election, given the fact that it was very compressed in schedule. 20,643 ballots were voted by mail and for a 46.29%, and 2,260 ballots were casted on election day or early voting day, which is a 3.65%. I would like to say thanks to my staff, Victor, Paula, Manuel, and Sonia, for all their hard work, dedication, and commitment to the County of Kings, and for performing their duties, election duties, with integrity and honesty. Thank you to all the staff that assisted with droving duties, ballot retrieving, ballot preparation, deployment of equipment, IT support, and thanks to all the poll workers from Kings County. And lastly, I would like to thank the voters of Kings County for casting their vote for the September recall and for embracing the election codes that we have adhered to and for coming out and voting. Again, Mr. Chairman and members of the board, I ask that you please accept the September 14th, 2021 California gubernatorial recall election certified statement of the vote as submitted. Thank you, and I'm available to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Villa. Okay, questions from the board.
Mr. Chair, I just want to thank Mr. Villa and his staff. Those are hardworking folks who got another round of work on them that they didn't expect or necessarily sign up for. That being said, they made the county look good again. They made the county shine, and I think they're underappreciated, in my opinion, all of them, including Mr. Villa. But I want to tell them thank you.
Thank you.
Really noted. Okay, let's see. We do need to accept this item.
Move as outlined, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Joe Nevs.
Yes.
Richard Valley.
Aye.
Craig Peterson.
Aye. So we have 3 in favor, 2 absent. Thank you, Mr. Villa.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You guys have a good day.
You bet. We'll move now to item 5D, which comes from the Health Department. Ms. Darcy Pickens, welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, Chairman, members of the board, Darcy Pickens, Public Health. I would like to start my report by reminding everyone that the tools to help end this pandemic are in our hands. Vaccination, frequent hand washing, staying home when you're sick, staying hydrated, and wearing a mask are all measures to help protect your own health and the health of those around you. As a reminder, our daily numbers are available on our website. We continue to have ongoing communication with the hospital on their resource requests and daily status. The overall local hospital trend appears to be stable in terms of the number of patients, though again this week we are seeing a higher number of people in the ICU than we've seen as part of this current surge. As of October 11th, the local hospital had 53 patients in med-surg and 16 in the ICU. Of those admitted, 49 are Kings County residents. Since July 1st, unvaccinated patients have accounted for 89% of hospital admissions. 11% of those hospitalized have been vaccinated. The Central California Emergency Medical Services Agency, EMSA's assess and refer policy remains in place in Kings, Tulare, Fresno, and Madera counties. Our PPE status has not changed. We are still maintaining a 60-day supply of PPE for our healthcare facilities. The mobile testing site schedule for this week is on our website, and testing demand has remained consistent at approximately 2,151 tests last week. Again, I want to just highly encourage those that are testing due to symptoms or exposure to remain home until they receive their results in order to avoid further transmission of the virus. We had 387 new cases last week. Of note, this is the lowest number of cases we have seen in the past 9 weeks. Although again, our ICU numbers are, our ICU number, is the highest we've seen in that same time period. So this is a reminder that hospitalization and death are lagging indicators, and we do not yet fully understand the impact of this latest surge. Our new case count since the start of the surge is 6,377 new cases. Case counts among most age groups have stabilized, though we did see a slight dip in the 0 to 11 age group. Our Delta variant case count has increased to 316, and there are currently 91,591 reported cases of the Delta variant in California. Last week, Public Health administered 359 vaccines, which was a dip from the previous week. We continue to have appointment and walk-in availability, and the additional dose for immunocompromised individuals, as well as the 6-month Pfizer booster for all other eligible populations, are both available. So far, Kings County providers have administered 115,628 vaccines to county residents. We have 8,904 partially vaccinated residents, 53,106 fully vaccinated residents. Our current breakthrough rate is at 1.6% of our vaccinated population, still at a level that indicates these vaccines are indeed effective. Of note, this past week, Pfizer has submitted for FDA emergency use authorization of its COVID vaccine for children ages 5 to 11. And Moderna and Janssen have both formally submitted a request for booster shot approval for their products as well. As a reminder, the FDA will review this request as a first step. The Moderna and Janssen review as soon as this week, October 14th and 15th, and the Pfizer review expected later this month on October 26th. Once the FDA review is complete, the CDC and American Council on Immunization Practices will complete their own review and provide subsequent recommendations. We will, of course, continue to keep you updated on this process as it moves forward. Although it is still too soon to tell, it appears as though we may be starting to see the tail end of this latest surge. With winter gathering for the holidays and cold and flu season ahead, our message continues to be that vaccination is one of our best tools to protect both personal and public health in the coming months. We continue to see evidence that vaccination is safe and effective, and it remains widely available in Kings County. Public Health will continue to ensure vaccination for both COVID-19 and the flu are readily available, and we encourage the public to come get vaccinated. This concludes my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Very good. Thank you. Questions? Supervisor Valley?
Not on her report, but if it's open now. Well, I'll thank her. Thank you, Darcy. That was excellent. Mr. Chairman, so as I understand, during this part of the agenda item, we still have the freedom to move around a little bit more. Is that, could I get that from county council or opinion?
This is for an update on the COVID-19 pandemic. If you have information and questions regarding an update to that pandemic, then you are free to ask them and they're free to be discussed.
Okay, last year there was motions made that weren't on the agenda that just came up as long as they were COVID related. I'm asking if we're still in that same scenario before I bring something up.
I'm not familiar with any particular motions and questions that you are suggesting, but I think that there is some latitude.
Okay,
If I believe that it starts to go beyond where the latitude will permit, then I'll advise you.
thank you. I appreciate that. Keep me out of trouble. Okay. Hey, Mr. Chairman, so earlier on the agenda, when we were talking about the $500 lump sum payment, which again, I feel at liberty to talk about right now because it's COVID related. That's money that we received due to COVID. And so one of the things that the board passed a couple of weeks ago was the resolution to give all the employees the $500 lump payment. And again, today, as I'm looking at the agenda, the item that we didn't take up, the language also says, that the funding that we're going to be asked to authorize was going to be to pay the $500 lump sum payment for all permanent county employees. And so again, in reaching out to our human resource director yesterday morning and waiting for a call back, the question I wanted to find out was if indeed, as it was to my understanding, that the board already authorized all our employees to receive the money. If it's true what I'm hearing, that at least the Deputy Sheriff's Association, those men and women in uniform did not receive their $500 lump sum payment. And I wanted to get some information on that as to why and when we can expect that to occur. That's my first question. I'll stop there. Thank you.
Supervisor Valley, if I may intervene here, I do believe that we are going beyond the scope of a COVID-19 update, and we're delving into matters of bargaining, matters of compensation, which are really outside the scope of a COVID-19 update. I would advise that this is better reserved for the discussion when the agenda item that you mentioned is brought back for consideration.
Okay, I appreciate that, Ed. Last year we took this opportunity, not on agenda, to spend $1 million of the COVID money for small business grants, and we did it on the spot. I'm not understanding why I can't ask a question that I'm not asking for any action for today. Is I believe this is COVID related, unless you say this is not COVID related. I simply want to know if a DSA received their $500 lump sum payment.
I do believe that goes directly to subjects that are have been bargained for, and so you're delving into that arena, and it is outside the scope of a COVID-19 update. That is my opinion. I'm sorry, I can't speak. I didn't advise the board on other matters last year. I can't speak to those things, but I can only give you my advice at this time.
Okay, well, that's disappointing there, because I believe, again, I have the authority. I wish you were aware of that there. Well, Mr. Chairman, I don't know what to do if I can't get a phone call returned on something that's important like this, and I can't talk about it in public. Then I'm just going to say that if that is true, then I would hope the board does something about that very quickly. I don't like receiving the monies before anyone else. We got ours last Friday, and I got mine, and I'm not proud of that that we would receive our money before frontline employees, especially men and women in uniform. That's not the way I understood that, and that's not the way I even understood the language today, but I'll stop there. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Great. Thank you. Further questions on the item? None? Okay. We see that. So we are scheduled for a 10 o'clock public hearing, but we're a little early. So at this time, we'll move to board member announcements and reports. Supervisor Rowley.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I would like to get some more information on the topic as you spoke about. So I'd like the Human Resource Director to give me a call as soon as she's available today, sooner than later, please. And I'll leave that right there. I'd also like to note that tonight, I believe at 5 o'clock, where we will have some county staff doing the redistrict presentation to the Corcoran City Council for those who might be watching and the public who may be interested in that. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Supervisor Notes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I had to bow out early last week, so this covers a 2-week period. Attended a behavioral health webinar that was aimed at multi-county invitees. A lot of people attended. Very nice turnout. A lot of items covered. Groundwater and urban growth was a discussion at the Public Policy Institute of California. That webinar is still online. You can still pick that up on anywhere you get your podcasts. Continue to announce freshman and JV football at Lemoore High, and wrapped up my Lemoore Raceway obligation for the season. They will be doing state races on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but they bring in professionals for that. So I'll see what I did different. Flu shots are now available throughout the county, and I want to thank the health department. I went in there, and at least under this management, I think they sharpened the needles much better because it didn't even hurt. It just comes right in. I think before, one time I got a shot, and I think the needle was only about an inch long. They'd sharpened it so much.
Cost cutting measures.
Yeah, exactly. But both through the county health center as well as the county health department and many other of your primary care physicians make all of those seasonal shots available, as well as many pharmacies. So get them early, get them often, because it does take a while to build up the antibodies. So if you can start early, start often, and get them done. American Legion continues to serve breakfast. Rockin' the Arbor is working on Friday nights in October. Attended the Renaissance Fair in Hanford last weekend before last. Seemed like a little bit shorter crowd, but a little bit shorter on vendors, but still a very nice event. I think in its 40th year or 41st year or something like that. It's been around a long time. The MIQ Festival was also another annual event that COVID had kind of put a kibosh on for last year. Kind of returned back and was still a very nice event. The state did ask my opinion on some legal matters in the form of jury duty. They kept me for 6 hours for a 6-day trial, and then they turned me loose right at the last moment. But it was an interesting process to go through, and there's a lot of things in the law I don't understand, and I don't want to learn them. But I do know that it takes a long time to even get to the starting blocks. But and they're probably going to call me back again because I didn't serve my jury duty time. So I might have to do that again sometime in the future. First 5 meeting, we'll continue to deal with virtual meetings. And that's one question I have, Diane, is if the Board of Supervisors can, under the last governor's outline on Brown Act, the way it has is the organization has to every 30 days renew its ability to have a meeting. Can we as the Board of Supervisors and extend that out to advisory boards and joint powers agreements under our authority? Does each because for an example, First Five meets on Tuesdays. There's 5 Tuesdays in November. So it makes it very problematic to have a meeting every 30 days.
Yes, I'll address it. I think that we can.
Okay.
Yes, in the resolution that I'm preparing for the board's consideration to make the findings, I have included a reference to extend it to all county boards and committees and commissions. With that said, it would not be a bad measure as a safety backup for each board to make a finding at the beginning of their meetings, that these conditions continue to exist, and there would be no doubt about their continuing ability to meet under those conditions. But yes, I think this board can make generalized findings, and I intend to prepare it accordingly.
Good, and I appreciate that, because like I say, right out of the blocks, November is problematic because of 5 Tuesdays. There's no way that we can have an October meeting, and then by the November meeting, it's beyond the 30-day. So we would have to call a special meeting to extend the ability to act virtually. So, if we can get those that resolved. Continue to review revenues and achievement reports from the funded projects throughout the county. I think First Five continues to do a great job for many organizations throughout the county, but we need to make sure that we can do that legally and responsibly and still meet the obligations of the state. The state mental health boards had their quarterly webinar also on Friday and addressed many of the updates, and that was part of the discussion was the governor's proclamation. And I really wish whoever's advising him on that 30-day doesn't work for all organizations, because some organizations meet every other month, some only meet quarterly. And so it's very problematic from a practical standpoint, even in most months, to meet that 30-day obligation. So I really wish that we could get that changed to either quarterly, one-time finding, or whatever we can do to help that at the state level. And then COVID continues to impact many families throughout the community, including high school sports, college sports, rescheduling events, impacting attendance, revenues, and we continue to carry on. Sometimes we even are able to field 2 teams and can't find officials. And so it's a very difficult time for, coaches, athletic directors. It's not just the health department and health related activities. There are a lot of other things going on throughout the community, but we'll continue to go on. So far, many of the coaches have been able to find pickup games, and because so far there's been at least 1 or 2 games that both teams ended up having COVID related cancellations. Some are being able to reschedule. Some of them just start playing each other that are still healthy. But officials are very hard to find, and so with that, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Supervisor Notes. Yeah, just following up on that, it's also hard to find pilots and truck drivers and anyone else. So experienced that personally yesterday. Just a quick reference back to yesterday in the air quality. The challenges obviously that occur from the current drought, but are increased by the man-made drought, which is occurring in the Central Valley. And I think you saw a preview of what this valley looks like without agriculture and adequate water supplies and infrastructure, and really frustrating. But I know that due to the air quality impacts yesterday, a call went out to the ag industry through agricultural groups to a friendly request to refrain from heavy tillage yesterday, and just want to thank all those groups for sending that request out and playing a part and trying to get through challenging days like yesterday and maybe today. Just a factor of lack of water in the Central Valley and what occurs when land is dry and kind of the opposite of those who think that agriculture is a waste of funding. But okay, with that, we do have some closed session items today as well. I just maybe refer to those right quick. But we do have a couple that we cannot hear. So the first conference with labor negotiators, Government Code Section 54957.6. We will hear today. The second item, significant exposure to litigation, one case, Government Code Section 54956.9 D2. I understand we can hear that as well. The remaining two items we will not hear today due to a lack of a quorum for those. So having addressed that, we'll move back to board correspondence.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have nothing for board correspondence. For upcoming meetings and events, the Links for Life Pink Passion Picnic at Hanford Civic Auditorium is still scheduled for October 20th at 10:30. United Cerebral Palsy Central California inaugural cornhole tournament at Hanford Civic Auditorium is also scheduled at, on October 24th from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. As far as upcoming agenda items, admin has two items next week in agreement with Vanner for capital project services and Kettleman Hills Waste Facility quarterly report. County Council has the Tulare Lake Reclamation District number 761 in lieu of an election. Human Services Agency has three items, an agreement with the California Department of Social Services for the provision of legal consultation and representation for the Resource Family Approval Program, agreement with Reading and Beyond for employment and training program services, and an agreement with UC Davis for staffing training. Health has two items, the maternal, child, and adolescent health agreement funding application, and of course, the COVID-19 update. That's all I have for board correspondence, upcoming meetings, and agenda items.
All right.
Mr. Chair, also hot off the presses, the library fall book sale. I just got the email on, is this Friday and Saturday, October 15th and 16th from 11 to 3. This is a great opportunity to support Friends of the Library and Kings County Library System, and also restock your personal libraries with new books, CDs, and whatever's available. So they always have good prices. If you show up with a buck, I guarantee you go home with a book. Buck for a book. So whatever's available, whatever you can do with friends. And then I think this is also Friends of the Library Week, and we'll present that resolution this week, and then we'll bring it back for formal action next week. But kind of crept on us. The wind blew it in a little bit.
Okay, very good. So we are still a bit before 10, so we'll take a short recess and be back at 10 o'clock straight up to have the public hearing. So we'll be in recess. Okay, it is 10 o'clock and we will reconvene as the Board of Supervisors. We have a public hearing scheduled today from Public Works and Mr. Dominic Taberski. Dominic, please go ahead.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Dominic Tyberski, Public Works Department. I am before your board this morning to request a public hearing regarding creation of zone of benefit 4-3 within track 756, also known as Armona North subdivision in the unincorporated community of Armona. The resolution of intent was to form the zone of benefit. The resolution of intent to form the zone of benefit was brought before your board and adopted on September 14th of this year. The purpose of the zone of benefit is to create a parcel tax for each residential lot in order to provide funding for roadway maintenance. After the public hearing, if your board so chooses, I am requesting waiving in the second reading of ordinance number 699 and adoption of the ordinance, amending Chapter 2 of the Code of Ordinances, which will codify this change. Traditionally, a homeowners association would be created by the developer and residents to provide roadway maintenance, as subdivision streets are not accepted into the county's maintained mileage. Because of previous difficulties inherent with that model, the county has moved towards creating a zone of benefit for each phase of development to ensure maintenance funding is provided. The tax will be collected by the assessor, and Public Works will hire a contractor to perform maintenance every 7 years. At this time, be happy to answer any questions.
Very good. Thank you. Questions from the board? Okay, not seeing any questions and comments. Public will go ahead at this point and open the public hearing for comments. Madam Clerk, do we have anybody that
I have not received any written comments and no one is online with their hands raised.
Okay, very good. With that, we will close public hearing and bring it back to the board for action. Any further comments, questions? Just have a big thank you. And I know this has been an issue prior in my district, and we worked together to kind of create this format, and truly appreciate the efforts. So with that, back to the board for action.
Nevs moves to adopt as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley,
Aye.
Craig Peterson.
Aye. So we have 3 in favor, 2 absent, and motion carries. Thank you, Dominic, for that.
I was going to have you read it, but I did have time, but never mind.
All right. So with that, I think we've covered all the business today other than moving to closed session. So at this point, we will adjourn to the next regularly scheduled meeting, which will be held on Tuesday, October 19th, 2021 at 9 a.m. And so meeting adjourned.